leadership goals and expectations. I'm Mama Faye. Today you will learn more about setting your own goals, setting your own expectation, and we will talk more about and get into more in depth about personal development. In order to become a successful manager at the mid level, you're going to have some expectations and goals for first yourself, and then also you need to have clear understanding of what is the expectation of you from those that are in upper management, and also what is the expectation as far as meeting the company organization goals. Before you take on any type of leadership role, you need to be able to define what your particular leadership style is and what it is going to be. Whether you're going to be the type of leader that just gives out directions and whatever you say goes, and there is no room for any type of discussion, or are you going to be the type of leader that you want to have a more team approach where others have input into whatever it is that you all are trying to put forth? Or are you going to be one of those that have a very hands-on? You're going to be down there in the trenches with your staff. Um, Also, how personable are you going to be? Are you going to be a leader who is very removed from your team? Or are you going to be one of those that are very close, and you're going to you all go to each other's homes, and you all do some people even do vacations together. So you need to define what type of leader are you, and what is your leadership style. And once you find out what your leadership style is and your how you're going to lead, you have to make sure that that is in line with your core values, because we come with a set of core values, but also it has to be in line with the organizational core values, because every organization, every business has a culture, and every culture has a certain management style that they either knowingly put forth, or some of them is unwritten and unspoken. But once you get there, you realize that this is the expectation and this is the way that they expect you to lead. And once you have your style and you understand what is your core values, and what are the core values for the company or the business or the organization, then you need to set goals and priorities. And these are going to be personal goals and priorities for you. You're going to have to set certain goals and priorities for your team. And then also, with the understanding and with keeping in mind the goals and the priorities that are set by your department, by your department head, and also ultimately by the organization. Make sure that your goals are clear. In other words, you need to have clear directives. What this means is you need to have a clear understanding, an understanding of what it is required of you, and what it is that their expectation is of you for you to accomplish. If these are not clear going in to your role, you're going to find yourself confused. You're going to find yourself being misunderstood because you may go in thinking one thing, but clearly uh, they had another understanding and that they had another plan. So make sure that going in you are clear as to what your role is there in as a mid-level manager. And then also for you, you must know where it is that you're going, what it is that where your team is now, and where are you trying to get this team to. So this is going to help you to be able to map out and to plan and then to monitor and to evaluate what your department, where it is, and where it is you're trying to take the department. So all of this has to be mapped out at the beginning when you take on this particular role. It's very key in taking on this position. You also have to have a time frame for meeting those goals. Because if you don't have that, then you don't know when you've met it or when you are a day late and $1 short, because the expectations from those that are in leadership over you and for the organization may have set time frames, and because you haven't identified those uh, time frames, now you have showing up as being short, as being late, and being insufficient. So make sure that you going in know the company's time frames, and then you have to have a certain time frame set for yourself so that you can meet theirs. And many a times, let's say example, they have a 30-day. You might want to have that done in 20 days so that you have enough of a little leeway in order for you to make sure that you worked out all of the kinks and that you're going to actually meet the actual organization's time frame. And in doing that, you're going to look for opportunities that are within that organizational structure for that aligns with your goals. Hopefully you've done this before going into that role so that you already know that it lines up. You have to make sure that it also aligns with your personal life goals, because if you're in a particular position and your life goal is one direction, and then the company is saying that we want to go in a different direction, there's going to always be this level of conflict. And once you have a conflict within and without, it's going to be impossible for you as a mid-level manager, because you're not in the upper management where you can make real change. There are some changes you can do on your level, but there are so many other changes that you cannot make unless the upper management team is also, that's a goal that they too feel that needs to be carried out or changed, or they want to do a whole rollout. So if they are not in aligned with your goals and you're not in line with theirs, there's going to be constant conflict, and you're going to end up being uncomfortable, and you're going to have to make a decision as to whether you can continue in that role or whether you will have to now leave that particular position. Hopefully you had a chance to meet with your leadership team. And that, when I say meet with the leadership, meaning those that are going to be above you, that are the directors and the CEOs, and those that are over the organization. Make sure you look at their leadership style. Because when you learn their leadership style and the way that the organization is structured, it's going to help you to be effective in your job as a mid-level manager. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll end up in a bipolar situation where one is going in one direction and the other is going in a totally different direction. And of course, when that happens, it causes frustration for you, but it also causes frustration for the team that you're leading. Because when you have a conflicted manager and they don't have a full grasp of what is going on, and the conflict is there and you're not happy with what the decisions that were made, and now you have to convey this to your team is going to pick up on those subtle ways that you are not really in line or in tune with what is going on. So make sure on the outset, before you consider or take on a leadership role, especially in as a mid-level manager, make sure that you are in alignment with what is the leadership or your leader, those that are over you, that is within a parameter. Now, you're not going to agree with everything that anybody do at any organization at any time, but there should be at least some level of respect. There should be some level of 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 likeness, where you like the people that you work with, you like the people that are over you, and you have some level of respect going in, where you feel like, okay, they're good and they are able to lead the organization, and so therefore I can confidently get behind what they are trying to do. And I can also get behind this particular company because it's something that I can work with. And, it could be that the company is very ruthless. Well, you're going to need to be a ruthless mid-manager. But if you're the type of person that you want to be effective and you want to be about change, and then you got to make sure that you're in an organization or you have a leader that also is progressive and is thinking in line as in the same vein that you are. And be very clear. Be very clear on why you are there, and why what is your expectation going in. If I'm expecting things to be a certain way, make sure that you're very clear going in. It's going to be hard if you have hidden motives and hidden agendas, and sometimes, and in this day and time, a lot of people like to fake it. A lot of times when you in as a mid-level manager, you some positions you're not going to be able to fake. You're going to have to know very well going in what it is that you are capable of doing, what is your expectation, and make sure that that is clear to those that are in upper management, so that they can be making the right decision as to whether you are right for this particular role. And be aware, be very conscious of the conflict, because conflict is okay. Sometimes it can work well, because many times when you are in a management role, you need people that are not just yes people. You need people in the room who are going to state facts and truths and it can be very good. The problem becomes when you cannot reconcile those conflicts. That is when it's going to be a problem for you, and it's going to necessarily be a problem for the upper management as well as your team. So in order to not have these long-standing conflict is to make sure that your core values, your core goals is in alignment with your upper management and is in alignment with the organization in which you are part of. Know your own red lines. This will really let you know when you need to have a quote. We need to have a meeting, unquote, with your leaders, because there are times when you have to have those conversations, those hard conversations with those that are in upper management. And so a lot of times you don't want to go in thinking about red lines, because hopefully you would never get there. But you do need to have a consciousness of what are your red lines for you. Because when those lines are crossed, you will need to sit with upper management and have that conversation with them. Now, you must be careful, because everything can't be a red line. There are some things that you may have to do as a mid-level manager. There may be certain programs or certain standards, or maybe different rules that you're going to have to relay to your team, and it may not necessarily be something that you feel is a great move, but it's not necessarily a red line for you. So those are things that you have to resolve the conflict within yourself and be able to project it to your team with a positive attitude, and also with an open mind, because if you have an open mind about trying new things or a new program, it also helps the people that are on the team that you're going to manage. It helps them to be able to come in with an open mind and to try new things. And if you have to have that, we need to meeting with those that are in upper leadership, and also sometimes your team may have to have that type of meeting with you. So it can go both ways. And you may have to have that meeting with your team, because they may have crossed the red line. And so when that happens, you have to be open and be prepared for correction. Because during these type of meetings, usually, you want to put everything on the table that needs to be said in that particular meeting. But you also want to come away with any corrections that you may need to do, because there may be correction on their end, but there may also be things that you can learn so that it can make you a better leader. Your pulse on your relationships. That's with both leadership and those on your team whom you lead, because it can turn for the worse at any time. And if you don't have a pulse on what is going on, it can definitely catch you off guard, and it can eventually affect your ability to lead. So when there is something brewing up under the thing, and you see something's balling up, and you notice that something's going on, it's going to be on you to call that out, to make sure that there's always a clear understanding and clear lines of communications going on. And remember, as a mid-level manager, you have to have clear lines with those that are in upper management, but you also must have clear lines with those that are on your team. So make sure that you're keeping a pulse on those, and make sure that you're constantly keeping a pulse on where you are. Where are you as far as things things going on? Are there things that you need to get off your chest, so to speak, in order to, whether it's to the upper management or if it's to the team? Both relationships have to be in good standing when you are in as a mid-level manager. Self-evaluation is another key to finding out where you are before your leader have to tell you, and make sure you do the course corrections as much as possible, because the last thing you want to do is to be called on something that you should have already had an idea that was happening. You should have had your pulse on that uh, item, and you should be fully aware of what's going on with your team and with what's going on with your department. And that also calls for evaluating your team, making sure that you're looking and at your reports. Make sure that your team is uh, producing the type of results that is going to excel your department. So you have to have the self-evaluation, and you have to constantly be evaluating your team. It's not enough to have a great relationship with your team members, because there have been departments where, oh, they all get along and everybody love each other, but we're not successful, we're not productive, and we're not getting any good results. So that's not a good team. And then you have other teams where everybody hate each other, but we are producing, we're productive, and that's not good either, because over time, that team is going to fall apart. So you want to be able to have a great team, but you also want the team to be able to be productive and to get results. Leave time for learning. You need to learn new products, new ideas, new industry standards, new ways of doing things, um, because you also need to also learn what your team does. You may not do the work, but you should be able to walk them through it, and they should be able to use you as a resource and a guide. And you can't guide what you don't know. So one of the things that you must constantly do, even if you've been there a while and you know your position, and you understand everything and you get along with everybody, but in order to stay current, you have to be leave time for learning and for additional training. And don't be afraid to go to a lot of the training that you're requiring of your team, because as you get to know what they know, you can help them through the difficult times, and also you can see where, okay, yes, they're being trained to do something this particular way, but now I see why they have this level of frustration, because for what they do specifically, that may not work. And then you can be the instrument for change, if possible, to relay that to the upper management, that this particular part of this training, or what we're asking of them to do, is may need to be looked at. Not always will you go in and say it needs to be changed, but maybe we need to go back and re-look at it and rethink it, and to ask for some of their input as to how we can reach the objective that you're trying to reach, but it's not going to be at a level of frustration for the person who has to implement this.
Need be, get in and help or find help. So many times we can see those that are working under us struggling. Maybe the staffing is low, or maybe the demand is high. And if you're, as a leader, don't get in there and help them when they're struggling, it can really leave them feeling very overwhelmed and also to feel underappreciated and undervalued. It's also very important to help those that are above you because, believe it or not, even CEOs and directors need help from time to time to manage, because sometimes they have extra projects that they need a helping hand. And if you get in there and you help them, those that are above you or those that work under you, you will be rewarded because your hard work will bring rewards. Those that work under you will be thankful that they know that they have a leader that when times get hard and when things get tough, that they can come to you. And even if you can't do the work yourself, but you are willing to go and find some help to get them help to be able to go through that process or that difficult time. And those that are above you, when they also see that you are willing to get in there and help them as well, a lot of times when it's time for a promotion, your name is going to be one of those that they're going to want to promote because they see that you are definitely a great team player.
Don't forget to take time to take note of your successes and praise your own contributions, because so many times as a mid-level manager you will be a part of a celebration for upper management because the company met its goals and met its objectives. They may made uh, had great successes financially, and so yes, you praise, you enjoy the celebrations for upper management, and then many a times you also you want to celebrate your team and have different functions for them to be praised for how they was able to help the team and help the department to reach its goals. But many a times as a mid-level manager, you forget to also praise your own contribution to making all of this happen. So you must find little ways to also to acknowledge yourself and give yourself some credit for what was implemented and how successful it was, because this will help you to be able to be a in that position as long as you desire to and as long as the upper management desire to, and it helps you to feel fulfilled in a mid-level management position. Now remember, the keys to any great leader: you must always dress the part. Every organization has a culture. Know yours. Make sure that you do the work. It's not enough to be good as being a manager or taking on a position and getting it and being all excited about, I finally made it to another level. But it's also about now you have to do the hard work. and you must complete the work on time. Next, you need to make sure that you continue to show those leadership qualities. And we're going to talk about 3 of them in this lesson. And the 3 we're going to talk about is remember to be dependable, because the people need to be able to depend on you. Your staff is counting on you, and so are your leaders. Make sure that you are a good team player, because when you know how to play well in the playground with all of the people that are in the playground with you, and most leaders and staff, you know what that means. When other people that are in your department don't know how to get along with each other and be able to, have a great team that you all want to come to work together. And then the last thing is to make sure that you stay motivated. It's nothing like having a leader that is not motivated, and then now that bleeds over into your unit. Now they become very not non-motivated. So you want to make sure that you keep up a certain level of motivation so that you stay motivated. And then now you can motivate those that you lead. To learn more about the mid-level management and the leadership series, please check out the YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook at MOMAFEY_HT. Yes, that's MOMAFEY_HT. Well, this is Mama Faye saying, don't do anything today that you are going to regret tomorrow.